Hey everybody, Captain Algebra here. We're a few weeks into 2024, and I thought it'd be a great time to look back at 2023 and pick my favorite game of the year. That didn't have to be a game that came out in 2023, it just had to be a game that I played for the first time in 2023. And then I got to thinking, well, it'd be even better if we got the community involved. So I kind of threw out an open tag to anybody in the community that wanted to be involved, and we got a ton of responses. So I figured let's start with them and see what other people chose for their game of the year in 2023.
Bargain Hobo here, and my game of the year is WarioWare Move It. Now, I might have just a little bit of bias because WarioWare is my favorite franchise ever, but you know what? I don't care. This is my game and I picked this, and I love this game. So, I've been playing WarioWare since 6th grade, but I'll spare you the history lesson. WarioWare Move It perfectly exemplifies the weirdness that I love this franchise for, and it's kind of a callback, both to Smooth Moves on the Wii and Gold on the 3DS. Like in Smooth Moves, there are different poses that you need to take with the Joy-Cons, and some of them can get pretty wacky, and like in Gold, we have fully voiced, fully animated cutscenes. Yeah, there were cutscenes and voice acting in Get Together, but they were not fully voiced. You had to read a lot of it, whereas here, we have full voice acting. And this makes you want a WarioWare cartoon. Yeah, it'll never happen, but a guy can dream. And I already have nostalgia for this game because it reminds me of a time that really isn't around anymore. You see, I bought this game on day of release, but didn't get to play it right away because my family was super busy because we were getting our floors redone. Then came the point where we had to just get out of the house. So my dad and I took our dog and wound up on a TLF at a local military base, where I was finally able to play the game. And play it, I did. I binged this game for about 2 days. Whenever my dad wasn't on the TV, I was, and I was playing WarioWare Move It. Now some of the games can be a bit awkward, and one boss fight made me take a night off, but once I beat this game and unlocked all the games, my arms were so sore, but man was it worth it. And I also found out my bedroom is not a good place to play this game because I was kneeling on my bed to capture this footage, so that caused me to lose some of the games I otherwise would have won. Anyway, long story short, WarioWare Move It is my game of the year.
Hey Cap, thanks for having us along. Tom and Lacey of Do You Nerd here to talk about our Game of the Year for 2023. I was actually thinking that wind, no shopping, is a lot of fun to do and a very cost-effective method to enjoy your holidays. Okay, so for me, I didn't play a whole lot of games, much less new games in 2023, but something I did get to revisit right here, Chrono Trigger. So our little boy band from across the pond with the Retro Refresh started this Game of the Month thing, and we got to sit back down to Chrono Trigger. Unlike most retro gamers in this community, I actually don't go back and play a lot of my old favorites annually or semi-annually, so this was the first time I had got to sit down and play one of my favorite games of all time, going back through, seeing how much I remembered about the game, the storyline. I've always loved the character artwork, all of the visuals in it are still stunning. They hold up so well. The music is still so amazing. It's such a fun RPG with such a fun time travel centered storyline.
Well, I got to experience it for the first time with you this year because I've never seen this game or anything like that.
But you even got to see a couple of the alternate endings
did,
too,
yes.
which really plays up that time travel theme, which is a lot of fun. So even though it's kind of a bit of a relic at this point, I had a lot of fun revisiting a classic, one of my favorites, and making it my game of the year for 2023.
Well, for me, it was kind of a hard decision to choose between two games that I've really played a lot of this year. One wasn't until the end of the year, but I couldn't go back and forth between whether I wanted to go with Hogwarts Legacy, which is just an amazing game. I had to wait forever to get it on the Switch, because yes, I wanted to play it on the Switch. It's everything I've ever wanted in a Hogwarts game. I get to run around Hogwarts, I get to do magic, I got to create my own character so I didn't have to play as one of the main characters. And it's set before everything that happened in Harry Potter, so you don't have any of those regular characters popping in, messing things up. It's such a beautiful game. It's so much fun. Even on the Switch, it's still beautiful. But then I started thinking, I have put so much time into Disney Dreamlight Valley. I mean, so much time. I love that game. I am a huge Disney fan. I love everything Disney, all the characters, the movies, everything. So when this game came out, it was perfect for me because I love The Sims. This is The Sims meets Animal Crossing meets Disney. It was amazing. I, again, got to create my own character, get to run around, play with existing old classic characters, brand new characters, my favorite characters, and have them run around with me. I get to decorate my house. garden, do tasks, go on adventures. Then I was like, yes, that's my game of the year. But then I kept going back, but there's magical creatures and Hogwarts and it's Harry Potter, but it's Disney. So yeah, I would say yes, that is my favorite game of the year.
You didn't narrow it down to... Okay, anyway, thanks again, Captain Algebra, for having us aboard for our Games of the Year 2023. Bye, nerdlings.
Bye! Hey, he's a math teacher. He knows math, right?
So Captain asked us what our game of the year for 2023 was, and it doesn't have to be released in 2023. Go.
My instinct is Tears of the Kingdom. Fantastic game, incredible. We spent a lot of time with it, but when I started thinking even more, I was like, 2023. Let's go old school. Let's go retro. Our 2023 game that we beat. It's the same game together. No Death Ran. Jackal.
Yeah.
Ever heard of it?
Yeah. Little Konami classic. This is a game I often say it's not a hidden gem because people who know, and a lot of people know.
Yeah.
But this game does not get talked about enough.
Nope.
Like you get all these like run and gun games on the NES, and it seems like everybody talks about, and you don't hear a lot about Jackal, which is a goddamn shame because it's so good and it's such a great co-op.
I mean,
game.
it's not technically a run and gun, but it's very close to a run and gun. It's a drive and gun.
Yeah,
It's a drive and gun. But Jackal is incredible. It's a fan. If you're a fan of Contra, if you're a fan of any types of those type of games, you would love Jackal. We co-op No Death Ran it. Fantastic game. And the music's incredible. It's just a great game. It's a great game by yourself, and then doing 2-player, it's a fantastic game, and it's
Like,
so fun, dude.
How there hasn't been any more love given to this game. Like, this is the only release that aside from the arcade, obviously.
Yeah.
But this is the arcade port. But there's never been a Jackal 2. I think there's a ROM hack floating around out there. But one thing I haven't seen in 2023, 2022, 2021, I've never seen the Mega Powers do a co-op no death run of this. Holy shit.
So are you saying that we're better than the Mega Powers?
Not a chance.
I think we
But
are.
it's a challenge. Get it done, boys.
Hey everyone, this is the Great White North speaking, and I'm going to bring to you my favorite video game of 2023 that I finished for Captain Algebra's video, and that is River City Girls. This game is an absolute blast. It's kind of a classic beat 'em up style with level up elements and things like that, where you can gain levels and skills, and you can buy things from different stores and build up your character. You get to play either Misako or Kyoko, looking for their kidnapped boyfriends. These boyfriends are Kunio and Riki, essentially the characters from River City Ransom, which this game is a spin-off of. The game's a lot of fun. It is very stylish, and the music is so well done by Megan Duffy and various other people. I'm not going to show too much of the gameplay, as you can see down there. This is what I was playing the game. It took me a few streams to beat. It was an absolute blast. I just can't get enough of the game. There's a sequel out that I'm intending to finish on stream as well. It's more open world than this one. This one's semi-open world. You open up the areas slowly, but you can go back and forth, back and forth. The gameplay is very easy to get used to. This game's on multiple platforms and whatnot. I would highly recommend this game. Check it out and whatnot. And now I'm going to go send this back to you, Kat. Thank you for having me.
Hey everybody. My pick for Game of the Year would have to be Resident Evil 4 Remake. Now, ironically, this game did come out in 2023, and I didn't have to pick one, just a game I beat this year. But I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. It's my favorite franchise ever. And when I heard they were going to do a remake for Resident Evil 4, I was very skeptical because the original Resident Evil 4 is a banger. But as soon as the remake was coming out, I was hyped. And when I started the game, I was hooked. Couldn't put it down. And I think they improved on the story. I think they improved on the atmosphere. And overall, it was just a very good game. Now, is it better than the original? Some may say. For me personally, I think they're both about equal. But Resident Evil 4 Remake is a great game. I even played the Separate Ways DLC, and I highly recommend you guys check that out as well. And overall, this franchise it has something for me, and I'm not sure what it is. The ending to the game and the ending to Separate Ways really has me excited for what the future is for Resident Evil. Are we going to get Resident Evil 5 Remake? I don't know, but as for Resident Evil 4 Remake, it was my favorite game of 2023, and I'm looking forward to the future, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys think.
What's going on, everyone? It's the Mad Belmont here. Thank you so much, Captain Algebra, for having me on for this video. So, my game of the year is Metroid Zero Mission. The reason why that is because I did not think that a game could easily take what the first Metroid did and make it better, but I gotta give it up to the folks at Nintendo. They really stepped their game up when it came to Metroid Zero Mission, and they made it play so much better than the first game. I felt like in the first one, you kinda were floating on the face of the moon while also being underwater at the same time when it came to the jumping and just the overall gameplay. It was good for the time, but I don't think it's really aged all that well. So, the fact that they refined the gameplay, the fact that they definitely made the graphics a lot better, and the fact that they basically made it a near one-to-one remake, of course they added a section here and there, but the fact that it's a one-to-one remake with added sections, and the fact that we also get a little bit of refined gameplay in there, I think that that's why this game has to be my game of the year. It was the first time I played it this year because I didn't have a Game Boy Advance growing up, so I never really played it in its heyday. But playing it now in 2023, I gotta say it is my favorite 2D Metroid so far. So far, I have yet to play them all, but I am working on rectifying that. But yeah, that's my game of the year. Thank you so much to Captain Algebra for having me on again, and I'll see you next time.
What's up, guys? This is Megadan29, and this is my favorite game of 2023. RoboCop almost made it, but only because of a very special memory I had with Battletoads. Is this my favorite game of the year? And you might say, Dan, you always play Battletoads. You like Battletoads. You're a great fan of it. You're a huge fan. Yes, but I beat it co-op with Stampede Gaming when he came to my house, and it's not easy to do. Playing this game co-op is incredibly difficult, and more importantly, it's hard to find somebody who can do it, as not a lot of people can beat this game, let alone come over with you and do it co-op. So that was a very special moment when Joe came over. We made plans to do it. He got over here from Canada, and we pulled it off, and it was just a really special moment. I had so much fun doing it, and it was just this huge bucket list thing off my list in my gaming life, if you call it that. And I thank Stampede a lot for that memory, and that is why this is my favorite game of 2023 that shares a very special moment in retro gaming. And Captain Algebra, thanks for having me on here, man. And we'll be back for Mega Powers soon.
Hey everyone, Chris of Midlife Crisis Media here to talk about my favorite game that I played in 2023, and that is Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, which is the DLC for Cyberpunk 2077. Not only is the core game of Cyberpunk 2077 a fantastic game on its own, it's probably in the top 10 games I've ever played. The DLC is absolutely fantastic. Not only does it slip into the narrative of the core game flawlessly, but on its own, it is one of the coolest things ever. It unlocks a new area to play through called Dogtown, which is separate from everything else in the game. Dogtown runs on its own set of rules, societal norms, all that kind of stuff. It deals with a whole new set of characters. The core character you interact with the most is Solomon Reed, played by Idris Elba of all people, which is absolutely amazing. He kicks so much ass in this role, aside from Keanu Reeves still playing Johnny Silverhand. But you also deal with this character named Songbird, who has promised that if you help her through her problem, she will solve yours, which is get Johnny Silverhand out of your head and save your life. This game poses so many moral choices. It's kind of mind-boggling a little bit. Like, it shook me up a couple of times. It really makes you think hard about what you're about to choose, and when the consequences hit, it's pretty impactful, and definitely will require a couple of playthroughs in order to see all the different choices and what they entail completely. You get a lot of new weapons to play around with, a few new vehicles, a couple of new modes. I like to think that I got the good ending, but that's debatable if you think about it, because a lot of gray areas in this game. Everything on the technical level is absolutely flawless. It looks great, it sounds great, it plays great. The song selections that you get to pick through on the radio, amazing as always, and it's just straight out fun. Best game I've played this year, hands down. I immediately wanted to play through it again, but then again, that would probably be another 100 hours spent in the game, and I wanted to play other games this year, so I had to cut myself short. But that's not saying anything bad about this game. If I want to play through it again immediately, that's definitely saying something, and that's something rare for me. So I highly recommend this game. Gets my full marks for the year. I hope you check it out too.
Hello, I'm Mr. Matthews, and today I'm going to say a few words about one of the games I've beat in 2023, and that would be Fantasy Zone by Tengen, or Tengen, one of those two I'm sure. Now, I was inspired by Back in the Day Gamer to play this game. This was one of the games that he threw in on his Games He Beat in 2022 video that I watched at the very beginning of the year. And it reminded me that I had this game in my own collection and that I hadn't beaten it yet. So I popped it in with a quickness, and this ended up being the very first game that I beat in 2023. Now, I've been a fan of the Fantasy Zone games ever since I played the first Fantasy Zone on the Wii Virtual Console back in the early 2000s. And you know, for an unlicensed game that's not supposed to be on the NES, this game is actually pretty good. It's a little janky, it's not quite as flashy as the other versions of the game, and obviously it's not as bright and colorful as the Master System version of the game, but it is pretty good. And once you get a feel for how the game controls and develop kind of a strategy for using the power-ups, it's not too hard either. It's a pretty easy game to sit down with and beat in a couple hours. And as it happens, for as big of a fan of the NES as I am, this was the only NES game that I beat last year, at least for the first time.
Thanks so much for inviting us to do this collab for our Game of the Year of 2024. I wasn't sure if we should change it up, but then it wouldn't be genuine from what we had in our video, so we're just going to stick with our picks for the year. Scott has one. It's probably RPG. I have one, and it's probably horror.
Modern. Retro.
Yeah, I can't deny it.
So mine is on the PS1. It is one of the all-time classics, Lunar, Silver Star Story Complete.
Look at you.
Look at me spitting that out. This game, I would highly recommend this game for anybody that is fairly new in this genre of RPGs. Very beginner friendly. The combat's pretty straightforward, with enough there that kind of keeps it fresh. The game isn't overly long, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. It has full motion cinematics for anime and all that.
That's awesome.
Music is 10 out of 10 on this. Is beautiful. The graphics hold up very well. And like I said, if I was going to recommend an RPG to somebody that who is looking to start an RPG for the first time, or somebody that is very new into it, this would be my pick.
I mean, I know you loved it enough that I made a painting this year for you. And so mine will be a surprise to no one because I'm a huge horror fan. Resident Evil 4 Remake on the PS5. It is an amazing game. Now, I know what you're saying. A remake, really, for your Game of the Year? Yes. There was enough quality of life improvements in the game, graphic-wise, and also that weird sexual tension between Ashley and Leon.
Is it weird?
It's strange. Everybody's complained about it. They've taken it out in this rendition of the game. The remake doesn't have any of that. They've solved that issue. Everything you loved about Resident Evil 4 the first time around, you're gonna love it even more with this one.
What if you've never played Resident Evil 4?
If you've never played Resident Evil 4, I would say just start here. You don't need to play the old one, the antiquated tank controls. Just go to this one. I wouldn't say that about every game.
How can you say antiquated, but you can't say quality of life improvements?
I don't know. I could just kept wanting to say quality of improvement. I don't know.
Still can't say it.
Anyways, this is my pick for Game of the Year for 2023, and it came out in 2023. So, anyways, back to you.
What's up, Cap Leads? So as you're aware, Cap has asked all of us to pick our top game of 2023, and since it didn't have to come out in 2023, I'm going to jump back all the way to 1994 and choose The Illusion of Gaia for Super Nintendo. The Illusion of Gaia focuses on the main character Will, as he goes on an adventure with his friends Eric, Lance, Seth, and they also pick up a princess named Kara, although in the game only Will is the playable character. Pretty early on in the game, you figure out that Will can go into this place called the Dark Space, where he speaks with Gaia, who's a statue. And Gaia is there to help you save your game as well as regain health. One of the coolest parts of The Illusion of Gaia is that it's set in a fantasy version of our Earth, which means that there are historical locations that you have to visit, like the Incan ruins, the Nazca lines, Angkor Wat, and each one of these holds a ruin that gives you a piece of the final puzzle. Speaking of puzzles, the island of Mu is quite the puzzle, but once you get through it, I think it gives you a good sense of accomplishment. Honestly, this game kept my attention the longest this last year. The music is fantastic, the action RPG elements are fun, and I think all of you should give it a chance.
So let's get to my game of the year for 2023, and this actually was a modern game, that came out this year, and that was Resident Evil 4 Remake on the PS5. So Resident Evil 4 is my favorite Resident Evil game. In fact, it was the game that got me into the series. I tried Resident Evil 2 back in the day, and I just wasn't a fan, and then so I didn't play any of the others until a friend of mine brought in Resident Evil 4. I saw him playing, and I'm like, this game looks fantastic. So I went and bought a copy on the PS2 and loved it. And since then, I've bought every single copy I can on every console that I own that it's on, and I can't get enough of it. So when they announced Resident Evil 4 Remake, I was at first pretty apprehensive, because Resident Evil 4 in my mind is a perfect game, and I didn't think it needed a remake, which to this day I still don't think it does. Like, I don't think we needed a Resident Evil 4 remake. However, it turned out to be such a fun game. So it came out in March of 2023, and it was my wife's spring break. This year we didn't have the same spring break, so her and the kids and the rest of her family went to Florida for the week, and so I was still working, but I was home, and it came out on a Friday, so I bought it, and I played it all weekend. In fact, that week, I played it 3 times. I had so much fun. So I ran through it regularly, then I ran through it again to get enough money for the Infinite Rocket Launcher. Then I bought the Infinite Rocket Launcher, and then I did a quick run through using the Infinite Rocket Launcher. So much fun. They really did a nice job of remaking it, kind of updating things, and making just probably the overall experience better. Now, I don't know which game I like better, just because nostalgia. My nostalgia is so high for the original version, but this is a great game. If you haven't played it yet, I highly suggest it. And clearly it's a good game because J-Chip and Jen from Retro Rivals chose it. So that's 3 of us in this video. It's clearly the best one. But seriously, it's fantastic. Definitely check it out. So once again, thank you to everybody who contributed. I loved hearing all your stories about why these games were your game of the year. And I think this could be something I do every year now. So, look forward to it a year from now. If you want to be involved, let me know. I think the more the merrier. If you weren't involved, but you want to let us know, go ahead and put in the comments down below what your game of the year was for 2023. Again, it just has to be any game that you played for the first time in 2023 or something that had special meaning to you in 2023. It does not have to be a game that came out. So thanks for watching, everybody. Till next time, this is Captain Algebra, signing off.